Good evening to you. Before I go and comment on the assignments we're going to be doing in the weeks ahead, at least in this week and next week, I wanted to give you some suggestions as far as like types of software that you can use for this class. And some of you may have used these, and some of you, may have not. Obviously, in Microsoft Word, and I'll just go to this now while I'm here. You can, create a Word document, but if you click on File and you click on New, you notice how many different types of templates there are as far as that goes, as far as agendas and brochures and memorandums, letters, reports, resumes. A CV is a curriculum vitae, which is a much longer, more involved type of resume. But if you notice too, they even have a blog post that you can have. They have a variety of different templates. And you see where it says, if you have Office 2010, it'll say search office.com for templates. So if you were looking for something unique, such as a public service announcement, for example, or a letter of appeal for fundraising, you could search there. But just want to suggest to you there's a wide array of documents that you can create through through Word. With Excel, I know that many of you have used that, but consider when you do your consumer report at the very end, when you're adding up your points of criteria, you can use an Excel spreadsheet, and so that's a good idea to put into a document. So you can embed it in Word. For the visual organizer for this class that we do for a summary assignment, some people even use Excel for that purpose, and they'll have, just like the same thing you can do in Word. You have the main idea in the circle, and then you branch it out, then you have the sub-ideas. And you can certainly do that, and, that's an option through Excel. So, and then through Excel also, you can create graphs and charts. So if you were doing, like, if you were comparing brands of pistols, and you were looking at Glock, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, and you wanted to add up the points of criteria, and then you wanted to show that on a graph or a chart, you could do that. So, obviously, that is an option. Throughout this class, I have talked a little bit about Microsoft Visio, which is visual organizer software. And I'll tell you how I use that and then how I've seen it used. Yeah, I teach a criminal justice writing class, and so police officers have to use a software that's actually pretty similar to that. And it's like along a road, and so on a road, you have to show like what road it is. If it would be on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, they even have mile markers. But specifically, or approximately where it is, what the condition of the road was like. Was it icy? Was there water on the road? What were the weather conditions like? Where did the accident occur? And so on. So use it in that regard. But in Microsoft Visio, like I said, which is also part of the Office suite, one of the options that you have with that is you can draw a map. And so, for example, for the criminal justice writing class, we drew a map from Founders Hall 845. Then we went out past where the bookstore is and the south entrance, went down the sidewalk, across the crosswalk where the children play for the child center outside, and then we went over into BIC, and then we went into room 4206 there. But I had students draw a map using that. This weekend I go to Harrisburg. Some weekends, about 3 times in the semester, I go for meetings there on Friday nights and Saturday mornings, and there's a parking lot that we're allowed to park in, and they give you the code and so on, but you're only allowed to park in particular spaces on the 3rd floor. So they have this Visio map, which is pretty nice. So it shows you where you enter, what the code is where you enter, where on the 3rd floor you park, and then how you exit the parking garage and so on. So, that's a good example of that. And before, and then today I'll send you another example, for different documents that you do, particularly like not everyone has Microsoft Publisher, which is part of the Office suite on their computer. And so if you do a document using Microsoft Publisher, then you can send it as a PDF file, which is advantageous. And as I said, my wife Vicki works for Beth Oden in the early childhood education program, and she produces documents for her. But when she does these early childhood education newsletter, she does it in a PDF type of document, and then she sends it out to current students, former students, those who own child care centers, child care workers, teachers, everyone. All of them are in education, but that she sends out to their listserv. And as I said, with Publisher, you can do brochures and pamphlets and agendas and all different types of documents that you can do on there. So I just wanted to, mention that as an option too. And so finally, in the Microsoft Office suite, some of you have or may have not used Microsoft Access. I had a student named Rich some years back. It was more than 10 years ago, and he's a database manager. I actually ran into him at Penny's while I was waiting for my wife to do some shopping, and he said, "Hey," he said, "how you doing?" And so he just told me what he does, but he ended up getting an associate's degree here, and ended up going to, I believe, the Pitt, and then the Robert Morris, and he's actually going back to school. He got the degrees were the computer science related degrees, and then he's going back to school now for his MBA. But he also has he's a certified database manager, but they use Access, but they use other databases. But I had a student in this class last year, and she worked at a tanning salon down in North Huntington, and so each customer has a membership card, so they scan it through, and their database keeps track of how many times the customer has come in during the month, what types of services they've used, and so on. And so, for example, if a person comes in, say, 10 times, and they're paying by the visit, what they'll say is they'll suggest, you can get a monthly plan or a yearly plan, or if they're using a tanning product and they're buying into the smaller size, they'll suggest buy a quart of it. It'll last you longer, and so on. So they use Access, and I like I said, I teach a criminal justice writing, and I know that they use the database manager, for that. So my advice to you is to be pretty good at using computers, or at least be aware of some of the software applications that you can use, because too often you have to create your own documents. In very, very few cases will you have access to a secretary or administrative assistant, so you will have to create most of your documents, which I think why this technical communication course is helpful. The one other tool that I wanted to mention to you today for you to consider is Prezi, Prezi.com. And Prezi is different, and I just wanted to compare it to PowerPoint, which is in the Office suite. When you do a PowerPoint presentation, so you go from slide 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to you go to 10. Just like yesterday, I did a presentation of faculty development, and we were talking about how to engage students more. So one of the ones that I suggested was create your own YouTube videos, or use YouTube videos in class. But we had about a 12 slide PowerPoint presentation. So we went through different techniques that you can use, even apps that you can use for your cell phone or smartphone, different types of games that you can play in class, particularly, with like a developmental reading class, or even for that matter, biology classes and so on. I knew a person that used to teach here. They would have students, and they would pretend like they were circulating through the heart, and one person would be the blood, and the other person would act as the ventricle, and so on. But it was a way for students to remember it. So that was kind of a fun way, to do it. And if you ever get a chance, there's a professor up at Pitt of Johnstown that teaches physics, and you can YouTube him. He's been on Jay Leno, but he'll like put his hand in milk first, and then put it in molten lead, and the milk molecules will repel the hot lead. He also will do other types of experiments, as far as melting a beer can with a mirror and the sun. Lots of different things, but he's very, very good at that. But the point about it is, I don't think in his class he uses PowerPoint, but I just was thinking about how you present information. And then the other point that I did want to mention to you as well is with Microsoft Prezi, and I would encourage you to go to that site because you can create your own documents. And the cool thing about that is, like, if you wanted to do a document, this is a good example, about elements of forensic science, okay, crime scene reconstruction, as far as that goes, for computer forensic evidence would be another, and you could go through that, but you could lay those out all on a big page, and then you could zoom in, and then you can create like branches that go out from that. And so that's really, really neat. It's an interesting way to do it. My boss, Dr. Andrew Barnett, we went to a conference and he did a presentation on like the PDV courses, like personal development. They're courses for students that are taking several developmental, English, reading, and math courses that take those courses. And he looked at the benefits of these PDV courses in increasing rates of retention and persistence. So it was neat, but he used Prezi, and it was a great way, presentational style. And again, like I said, if you have an EDU account like you do here at WCCC, you can access and use it for free. Otherwise, you'd have to pay for it. So, just wanted to, suggest that. So I like to mention, for this class that, that you evaluate yourself to different types of software and try to use it for some of the documents. And then even to start to try to use formatting more in this class. And then also to try to, start to use clearer, sharper, more accurate sentences. All right. The only point that I wanted to mention to you is for this week by 4 o'clock, or not 4 o'clock, by midnight tonight, you have to post at least once to discussion board 1A. And then you have to respond to another student by midnight on Friday, October 4th, okay? For discussion board 1, you only need to post once. For discussion board 1A, though, you will need to post 2 different times. All right, and then you have to do the evaluation of customer service for Friday, October the 4th. And then for the week of October the 7th, what you have to do for that is you have, the proposal for your consumer report. And I really wanted to talk about that a little bit tonight, just to make sure we're on the same page. When you do your proposal for your discussion board proposal for your consumer report, the big thing that I would tell you is make sure to do some preliminary research. Just don't post a proposal and just say I'm going to buy a mid-sized car and not sure what brands I'm going to get and so on. You really have to start to figure it out a little bit more. The 3 brands have to be from the same category, okay? And let me illustrate, is if you're looking at a Jeep Wrangler or one of the off-road 2 or 4-wheel drive vehicles, and you were looking at the Toyota that's like called the CJ Cruiser, it's another off-road worthy vehicle, you could not look at the Honda CR-V or the Toyota RAV4 or the Mazda CX-5. They are not in the same category. You would have to do something like the Nissan Xterra, because all 3 of them are called truck-based SUVs, and so they are heavier duty. The struts, the springs, they have skid plates. They're higher off the ground. You can equip them with a winch on the front, and you could tow yourself out of places. You could go on old logging roads. You could go back into the state game lands. I mean, you can take those just about anywhere. You could tow 3 or 4 quads with them. A pretty decent sized trailer. With these, the Chevy Equinox, the Toyota RAV4, the Honda CR-V, the Mazda CX-5, they're, like based on cars. So like the CRVs based on the Accord, so it's more of a car-based vehicle, and it's all-wheel drive, which is different from four-wheel drive. When you have four-wheel drive, I mean, you can shift it in, and I mean, you can climb all sorts of places. All-wheel drive starts to engage when wheels slip, so there's a significant difference, and I just want to make sure that you understand that. Same thing like with laptops. Don't say I'm going to be looking at laptops by Dell, Hewlett Packard, and Lenovo. You'd have to say, I am going to be looking at the Dell Ultrabook 15Z, so that would be a 15-inch, i5, which is an Intel chip, the mid-range one, laptop. So be more specific, and then, that you're looking at an HP Ultrabook 15 Pavilion or whatever it is, but you just have to be specific about what you're looking for. Digital cameras is the same thing. There's such an array of digital cameras, and so, they have the small size that you can put in your pocket or a small handbag. And then they have, the ones that are a size up, that they have more zoom capability and so on. And then you have the full-featured ones that have mega zoom, and, that there's a great deal more to them. Then you have the DSLR, where you can exchange the the lenses. So they all sort of, vary, but you have to be specific. So tell me the brands and the models of the brands you're looking at. And then with your points of criteria, I don't want you just to list the points of criteria. I want you to explain them. So, for example, I had one that a student was writing about a bow and arrow. There's like the bow weight. And that's the physical weight. How much does it weigh? And then there's like the pounds of the bow. Like if it's an 80-pound bow, but then what's the drawback, rate? Is it 20 pounds? Because some bows, even a younger child could pull them back, because of the way that they're designed today. Or there's like a criteria of like sound. How much sound it makes as it goes through the air, and that sort of thing. So now remember, criteria is something you can evaluate. Preferences are something you'd like to have. A criteria would be reliability, durability, warranty, standard features of a car, interior design, total cost to own over 5 years, depreciation, ease of operation of controls. There's one in these vehicles today and other types of things called ergonomics, which means how well does it fit a variety of people of different shapes and sizes? How easy is it to use for the average person? Because that's a complaint about Ford the Sync system, that not everyone can figure out how to operate the radio and all sorts of other features. So remember, there's a difference between criteria, which is something you can rate or evaluate, compared to preferences. Preferences would be that you would want a white car. That's a preference, okay? Another preference would be that it would have to have a tray in the back that you could take out because you have dogs. That's a preference. That's not a point of criteria. Now, the last point that I wanted to tell you with these consumer report proposals is, don't just say I'm going to look online. What does that mean? Tell me places where you would consider looking, and just don't consider the web. There's different options that you can do. In particular, I wanted to make you aware that you can use EBSCOhost, which is available through WCCC, which has consumer reports and all sorts of publications. I encourage you to look there. But if you're looking at electronics, cnet.com, eOpinions, I like crutchfield.com is good. And then, the different sites like, PC Magazine, or, they have all sorts of technologically related publications. And of course, you can go visit stores or dealerships and so on. So, that's always an option. What I can't ever understand is how some students in this class will buy a new vehicle but won't actually drive it. And that doesn't really make that much sense to me, because you really have to feel like how it works with you and so on. So So that's really what I would say about that. So with the proposal, do research preliminarily, and even if you wanted to go on Amazon and see which brands were higher rated or had better average customer ratings and so on, you could do that. But figure out where you're going to be headed because, for example, the Honda Civic has a stick or an automatic, and then the LX is the base model. The EX is the mid-range model. The EXL is with leather. EXL navigation has navigation included. So we're talking of the range from approximately 17,500 to about 26,500. That's quite a significant range. But I mean, you just have to you have to compare three brands of a product that costs $100 or more. It can be a vehicle, it can be exercise equipment, a bicycle, a tablet, a laptop. I had somebody in class that bought a exercise wristband that's used. I never even heard of that before. A weapon, like a pistol, a rifle, boots, a purse. I mean, the range of topics is pretty diverse, but I just wanted to make sure that what I don't like to have happen in this class is you to propose the proposal and then you have to do it two or three times. I like to spend time explaining what I'm looking for so you understand that. Thank you.